Give us a little more porridge, Saber. We're starving out here. How it feels to complete the daily hard stratagem on Vortex with the armor malfunction, great responsibility, strikeout, and depleted armor modifiers for 15 requisition points? Who did this? Is this real? Is that a real daily? Wait, hold on. Armor malfunction and depleted armor modifier. How do you get... That's wild. Great responsibility, strikeout. Yeah, is this a real daily? I hope this is not a real daily. Okay, anyway, I've seen a spike of people talking about hard stratagems, and not to mention I've seen a spike of people showing off how hard they can get stun locked in this game. We're going to take a look at 2 clips of stun locks today, and we're going to see how absolutely hopeless they were to get out of the situation. But also, not to mention, it feels like everything is kind of boiling down to hard stratagems. A lot of players are, I don't know if they're getting burnt out on the difficulty or they're just not interested in hard stratagems anymore. However, you can kind of take a guess why people aren't very interested in hard stratagems at the moment, considering this meme right here. Yeah, 15 requisition points for that is insane. I admit, that's insane. Dude, what do you guys think would be like a good amount of requisition points for hard stratagems? Like 30? Like dailies? You know what I mean? Like 30, something like that. But here's the thing also. If they really gave out that many rewards or that many points for dailies, I do think... I'm just not sure if the economy will hold up, to be honest. There's a fair amount of stuff in the rewards, in the rewards tab for stratagems. You can buy stuff with your accolades. And I'm getting pretty close to buying everything. I mean, I will say though, I'm not too sure how much I'm gonna jump at the chance to get, like a chest piece or something. I got 1 piece of cosmetics from the rewards, and I'm going to let my accolades stack up for a bit. But yeah, regardless, I get it. 15 requisitions for a daily hard stratagems is not. It's not good. It's not good. But okay, yeah, let's take a quick look at these stun locks. At these stun lock clips, and then hopefully maybe the devs can get a glimpse at why people are kind of getting sick of hard stratagems. All right, so this clip is called Hatred. This is a heavy. I guess they have one teammate who is currently respawning. And wait, hold on, how many extremists popped up at him? Obviously there's a few lictors, so there's 1, 2 right there, 3. Yeah, I mean, double unblockables attacks. Oh wow, there's a 4th one. There's a 4th one. Oh, he's cooked. He's absolutely cooked. Wow, he actually survived that, though. He actually survived that. All right, guys. So, considering his health pool right here, there's a teammate. Where's your teammate at? Hold on. Can we get visual on the teammate here? Because, man, they did not help you out here at all. I have to admit, though, still, it was kind of like they popped up instantly. So I don't think the teammate actually had an opportunity to help him. But, dude, that's insane. That's insane. So, all right, let's break this down. Okay, yeah, those were parryable. Those were parryable, which he did. So he did get the parries there. He did get the parry there as well, so he can parry. However, the unblockables, nice reaction to that, to be honest. Like, dude, that is good gameplay. That is definitely what... Oh, and then he went for the gun strike. That's what cooked him. Literally, that's what cooked him right here, is going for the gun strike, because then he just gets auto stun locked and loses his entire health pool for that, dude. That's so frustrating to watch, man. Like, here's the thing, guys. If he doesn't go for that gun strike, I mean, I guess he can just sit there and parry, right? But he's still going to get roll call if he tries to roll away here. That last attack... Like, right? Okay, here's the gun strike that kills him, right? This gun strike specifically. So he gets hit by this by this counterable attack. Boom. There was another counterable attack following up. The only way he could have played this correctly if he knew the future, and he just parried both of these attacks. But then there's this lictor just hanging out right there. We know there's a 4th one as well. Unblockable, double unblockables. He should be dead, to be honest, but he's not. Guys, this is insane. This is one of those clips that pretty much is a great example why people just don't like playing hard stratagems at the moment, and I honestly don't blame them. The devs seriously need to take a look at stun locks again, because this is pretty horrifying. Look, I get it. He did 1 bad gun strike, but like honestly, the gun strikes, it's kind of weird how gun strikes just bait players into getting stun locked. I just don't think this should be the case. I really don't. I think if there's a gun strike there, he should either have iframes, at very least iframes, but the devs don't want the game to be, what, punishing? They don't want the game to be not as punishing as they thought or whatever. The game seems pretty punishing. I mean, the game literally punishes you for for interacting with one of the basic mechanics of it. Dude, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, he just can't get out of this. The only time he has frames to roll away is right now. All right, so this clip is called I Give Up. And yeah, it is pretty funny how both of these clips were in the same spot, probably because of the weekly, right? But both these clips showed up in the past, like, under 20 hours, something like that. Anyway, yeah, the game's spamming Raveners here. Good gun strike. Good gun strike. They're trying to roll away to create position, to get a better position, but they got immediately roll caught and then stun locked. Dude, see, that's the thing, man. Some people really think you can just, like, roll away from these situations. That's not always the case. If you see a fair amount of Raveners and Lictors, they will roll catch you, man. They will roll catch you and then stun lock you, and then you are dead. And yeah, you can kind of see why players are getting a little bit sick of this type of difficulty, right? It's like the only way he could have played back from this is if he drops Invigorating Icon and heals himself. But, like, you know, we all know months ago the devs did mention that they didn't like Icon. Well, I wonder how they feel now, because to be perfectly honest, the game is so broken from a difficulty standpoint that things like Invigorating Icon aren't even overpowered anymore. They're simply not overpowered, and I think it's really silly if they go back and try to nerf Icon, especially considering stun locks like this, dude. It's so silly. I really hope the devs start to rethink the way they look at difficulty in this game, because I think they achieved what they wanted, but if we're gonna see nerfs in this game, then that's just insane. That's just insane, you know what I mean? Like, let the game be punishing, but also let us have tools to play out of it. Because then you're just setting us up to, like, an RNG generator of, like, RNG generator. I know G stands for generator. But anyway, they're setting us up for, like, luck-based situations. And I just don't like that at all. Like, if you're gonna throw 4 Raveners at us, keep Invigorating Icon the way it is. I would go as far as to say unnerf it. Unnerf the cooldown on Invigorating Icon, considering situations like this. That is insane, man. Dude, Space Marine 2 simply doesn't have the reputation for being, like, one of the hardest games on the market right now, and I swear, there are definitely stratagems that are more difficult than, like, Bashi. Like, 100... Okay, if you don't know what Bashi is like a really hard platformer. I do think, obviously, Bashi overall is harder than Space Marine 2, 100%, but there are some daily stratagems, or there are some hard stratagems in general, that I would like to see Bashi players look at and be like, oh, wow, that looks absolutely exhausting. But yeah, this is insane. Weekly hard stratagems are driving me crazy. I'm pretty sure this is a typo, but whatever, let's continue. Playing with people is a gamble. You think that everything goes well, and the very next moment, everyone folds like a house of cards, because the director decided to spawn 50 Devour Warriors and a Carnifex right before the final elevator. I had games with level 13 heavies, which sniffed the floor the entire run. I had games with great players that fumbled once or twice on the Tyrant and lost their entire HP pools because it takes just 2 to 3 hits, which are consecutive, to go down without armor. Yeah, that's accurate. That's accurate. I died when the boss was on 20% HP on its second phase. I had dozens of runs today, and none of them were successful, even if I was dealing top damage or when the whole team was as effective as it could be. Yeah, that's where I'm definitely starting to lose some of my patience. I mean, it's all fun and games, you know, blaming stuff on low-level players without team perks or whatever. A lot of that, there is some very good points that they should definitely level lock hard modes. However, it's still difficult for everyone else also. So most of the time when we're criticizing low-level players, it's simply due to the fact that we can also die instantly, and we need all the help we can get, essentially. Trying it solo sucks, since bots deal less damage and take less aggro, which means you need to dodge them even more. So this was a post that was made recently. So the weekly he was referring to is the weekly we have now, I believe, with the time limit and, yeah, the armor damage on dodge, which isn't too bad, to be completely honest. It's not too bad, unless they spawn a Neurothrope, in which case, yeah, you will see one of those moments where their HP pool just gets immediately depleted. So Yeah, I mean, dude, I have to be honest. I definitely feel bad for some players who have not been playing the game since launch, because even for players who have been playing the game since launch, this game's still very hard. This game's definitely still very hard. But okay, let's continue this post. Things you can't constantly avoid without dodging: sniper warriors, devour warriors, as long as there's at least 3 of them, ranged gaunts. Yeah, ranged gaunts is interesting. Ranged gaunts, by the way. Yeah, let's say you have contested health for this, and then the devs did their contested health rework, which we might need to do a video about, because I'm actually adamantly against nerfing anything in the game at the moment. There should not be a nerf at all, in my opinion. But if they do end up nerfing contested health regeneration on ranged weapons, ranged gaunts are going to be a lot harder to deal with, because you're not going to be able to trade. You're not going to be able to... I mean, I guess you need headshots. You should be fine, but you're still going to have health that's going to be taken away from you that you can't get back. I mean, I guess you can, you know, try to fish for an execution. That's fair. But the moments with the ranged gaunts that I'm concerned about are the same moments with, like, the minigun Terminator, where they catch you off guard, and you didn't notice until, like, the worst moment imaginable. And with them being gaunts, that means this situation can potentially happen a lot more often. So, I mean, we will see, though. I don't want to overreact to anything, but I am still pretty adamant against nerfing anything in this game. Barbed warriors patches, neuro tyrant waves, Carnifex range attacks. Yeah, that's a good point. Tyrant sword beams. Oh, what, like the Hive Tyrant? Oh, no, that's true. Yeah. No, well, you need to perfect dodge them. So here's the thing. You can perfect dodge and not take damage. That's fair. Honestly, this condition isn't really that bad. As far as comparing it to the worst conditions, like I still think suboptimal state is way worse than armor malfunction. Some other BS I forgot about. Yeah, very, very credible. I like to see it. Who in their right mind came up with this absolute modifier, this absolute bad modifier in a game where range damage already is bad because of how much damage it deals? How unavoidable is it, and how much of it there is? No, he's right though. He's right. He's right about armor malfunction being weird. I agree with it. I just don't think it's that bad because there are ways you can build around it. But still, yeah, Neurothropes. Yeah, if a Neurothrop spawns in, you're just cooked. It's terrible. Fighting Neurothropes with armor malfunction is where it gets its very terrible reputation, essentially. I want to bash my head. Nah, don't do that. That's the post. Okay. Again, though, I think the top over here, this is a game. I think this is a pad game with words, right? So whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah, as you can see, people are definitely still crashing out over hard difficulties, especially hard stratagems. Only hard stratagems, to be honest. I don't really see anybody crashing out over hard siege mode. I don't see anybody crashing out over absolute anymore. It's really just hard stratagems. And from the clips that we saw earlier, it really does feel like the game isn't set up right for it, to be honest. At least for some of these combination of conditions, because we saw 2 different ways players were stun locked. There was a guy who hit the parry, got immediately he hit the parry, did the gun strike, got immediately stun locked. And then we had a player who sensed they were about to get surrounded by extremists, went to roll away, got roll caught, stun locked. Yeah, it's the same story. It's the same story every time. It's just, it feels like, depending on your position, depending on how many extremists are spawned in, there are definitely combinations in this game for hard stratagems that feel like it's way too much RNG, and I really think the devs should take a second look at either stun locking or damage overall, to be honest. I just think it's impressive how people actually think it's fun. Oh yeah, I'm surrounded by 20 warriors and a Neurothrope. Oops, I dodged, took damage. Now you're stun locked, which you're probably dead now. Oh well, the lightning that Neuro summoned up. that lightning that Neuro summoned stunned me again, and here goes another 20 swords and run. Yeah, dude. Nah, there's definitely a lot of people who are sick of this, and on the subject of fun, which is why I chose this comment, I am still having fun with hard stratagems, with daily stratagems, you know, normal stratagems. However, there are definitely combinations of conditions that make hard stratagems just too much of a pain, and it's not fun. I agree. And this is where I think the devs need to understand that the difficulty for hard stratagems, I don't know if it's intended. I genuinely don't, because it's random, right? Like, how could the devs say the difficulty's fine when in hard stratagems you can have conditions that are easier than absolute, and then you can have conditions that are harder than anything in the game? So that sort of like percentage error, I guess, that sort of divide, I guess, I don't know what to call it, but there's definitely a disconnect from how hard the devs think the game is and then how hard it can get, in my opinion. I definitely think the devs either need to take a second look at some conditions, or take a second, maybe a third or fourth look at stun locks, because the clips we saw today were pretty unacceptable. At the very least, I think the devs need to tone down their approach with nerfs, because even if Invigorating Icon wasn't nerfed, it's still appropriately powered for hard stratagems. If they take away the cooldown, Invigorating Icon, because it used to have a 2-minute cooldown in case you're new, now it has a 3-minute cooldown, there's effectively no reason why that extra minute is even relevant, to be completely honest. There are ways you can get, banner back quicker, but there are also conditions that allow you to get banner back quicker. So it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to... okay, to be fair for the devs, they did not mention nerfing Icon or nerfing anything outside of the contested health rework. But don't worry, we're going to keep an eye on this, because right now it's just too random. There's way too much RNG when it comes to hard stratagems, where I just don't understand where the devs can confidently say that, nah, it's all good. It's like, well, at the very least, you do understand there's hard stratagems that are effectively easy, and then there are hard stratagems that are effectively impossible for 99% of your player base. That doesn't seem good. That's not a... like, I don't know. That doesn't seem good to me. That feels like there's a lot of players that you're just letting just stop play the game because they're either sick of getting stun locked or they're just sick of the random difficulty. And yeah, I mean, that's fair. It is fair. So I just wanted to revisit this conversation because I felt like, the more I was thinking about devs talking about the difficulty of this game, and then the more I see people, share clips or share their experiences, it's like, how can this be sustainable at all? Like, it really does feel like the devs, for whatever reason, just want the game to be punishing and not really be engaging, which is kind of where I think they need to start to understand, dude, people don't like suboptimal state, man. People don't like where you can just, like, effectively the surgical strike condition effectively just lowers your parry window. It doesn't do anything. There's no trade-off. It says it does damage on the parry, but it doesn't feel like it does at all. So I don't understand. I think the devs, at the very least, if it's not the base scaling of hard stratagems, at the very least, they definitely need to take a look at other conditions that players just hate. And yeah, for the subject for armor malfunction, it should be armor malfunction, not health malfunction. If you roll, you get armor damage, not health damage. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense, but okay. We will see. We will see, because we will see a PTS soon. So we are going to see a patch for the test server soon, and we will get a better idea on what the devs intend to do with the shifting high difficulty in this game, I guess. I don't know. Honestly, this is the weirdest issue. I've never seen a game put in a strictly punishing hard mode that can, vary from not too hard to absolutely impossible, and then just, I don't know, kind of shake it off and like, hey, this is what we want. I don't know. That doesn't feel intended. It doesn't feel intended because of the random nature of it. But yeah, that's all I have to say about it. I've been playing hard stratagems. I've been playing normal stratagems. I have fun with both, but it does become a pain to queue into hard stratagems and continuously see players die within like the first 10 minutes. Whether it's their fault or not, there's a lot of these things that just don't help them regardless. So yeah, I don't know. I guess let me know in the comments how you guys feel about this one. I know people kind of get sick of, complaining about hard stratagems and everything like that, but I had to say something after seeing those stun lock clips, dude, and then seeing people keep posting about how they're just sick of playing hard stratagems. And it's like, obviously they don't have to, but if they don't do that, there might not be any more content for them. So I don't know. I just think the devs need to understand that there are players who are probably dropping this game because they just don't think it's worth it. And I wouldn't blame them, because it's just ridiculously difficult sometimes and has a lot of RNG behind it for 15 accolades for cosmetics that we're probably already going to have. Like, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. But yeah, let me know in the comments how you guys feel about this. And thanks for watching.